We're going to start with that sensory motor stage. So this is the stage from birth to about 2 years old. And it's called sensory motor because it's this exploration. Remember, children are little scientists. This exploration where they're kind of learning, they're feeling sensations in the environment, and they're developing motor responses to interact with their environment. They're grabbing a thing, they're putting things in their mouth, they're moving and feeling and kind of interacting with their environment at this very kind of surface level stage. So in this stage, the infant is focused on the here and now. They're focused on figuring out what exists rather than the past or what they're going to do tomorrow. And these sensations tend to evoke these immediate motor responses in them. The other thing that they can do in this stage is they start to slowly develop language. So around 1.5 years, they tend to have some amount of vocab, some amount of words that they're used to saying. It tends to be really short, kind of meaningful, like verb noun type of phrases. So maybe things like want food or like go bye-bye, or those types of like short little ways of communicating that get their point across without like proper grammar or anything like that. So this is around the age that, infants are slowly kind of starting to interact with their environment. But also a cool thing that happens here is what we call object permanence. So I want you to think about, have you ever played peekaboo with a baby? If you have, it's so entertaining to them, right? Like you cover your face, they think you've gone, put your hands back out, and they're just like astonished that you like came back. It's a magic trick to them, right? So that's because they lack what we call object permanence. They don't realize that objects are permanent in the environment, and that once you cover them up, they still retain object status, right? They're still there even if you cover it with a blanket or you cover your face, you're still there. We know that as adults, infants don't. So object permanence is the ability to form these mental representations of objects that are no longer present. It comes at about 8 months or so. So it's one of the major milestones that occurs in this stage. I love these different like memes that relate to it. But it's basically one of the main reasons that playing peekaboo, which seems like such a simple game, works so well to hold an infant's attention, because they're literally like performing magic every single time to them. So here's an example, kind of short, that shows you how infants lack object permanence in a game that is not peekaboo. So this woman is taking that little draft toy and hiding it, and you can see that this infant is like, where did you, looking at the person being like, he's looking around and not sure where the draft toy is. And as soon as the infant can see it again, they're super interested. They grab it again. And even when she hides it in the same exact spot and the infant watched that, they're still like shocked. They're like, how, looking around for it, right? So infants aren't great at recognizing, even when they physically see the object. As soon as it's out of their line of sight, covered by something, it's just disappeared to them. Now, the next stage after that, so that was sensory motor, about to age 2 or so. So now, from 2 to 6 years old, we enter what Piaget called the pre-operational stage. Now, the stage gets its name because they're not, these children aren't yet capable of engaging in mental operations. They're pre-operational stage. So this stage is characterized by the use of symbols, so being able to kind of fully numbers, letters, shapes, kind of learning those symbol representations. Egocentrism, which is this kind of ego-centered viewpoint, right? So if someone has a big ego, all they care about is themselves. So think about this as this limited ability to understand others' points of view. And one of the classic ways that researchers study this is called this 3-mountain problem task. So they'll put someone in the stage, 2 to 6 years old, on one side of a table, and they'll have 3 mountains set up, 2 that are closer to the child and 1 that is farther away. And then they put like a doll on the other side or a researcher on the other side, and they ask the child, what does the doll see from their point of view? What would if you were to draw a picture for me, what does their view look like? So To us, we're able to look at this diagram and be like, okay, this doll is able to see one mountain really close and two in the distance, right? But a child in this stage who has egocentrism would say, oh, obviously that doll can see two mountains because I can see two mountains. So since my view is how everyone's view is, I have a little understanding of other people's views, everyone must see what I see. The other thing they struggle with is the concept of conservation. So conservation is when something changes form or appearance, even though it doesn't actually change in quantity. So an example of that I'm going to show you in a second. Besides conservation, they are also able to acquire more language. Again, these are kind of their early schooling years where they're able to kind of acquire and pick up speech. But to show you kind of what these different stages look like and how children interact with this, because to me it's like fascinating. You're like, I clearly can tell the difference between these two things. How can a child cannot? Let's watch in action about a child in the stage who is showing you he lacks some of these qualities.
So we have two sticks. Is this stick longer? Is this stick longer? Or are they the same? The same? What about now? Is this stick longer? Is this stick longer? Or are they the same?
That stick is longer.
The stick is longer?
Yeah.
Can you tell me why?
Because you moved it over.
So now it's longer?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me. I'm going to pour blue water into each of these cups, and you're going to have to tell me when they have the same amount. Okay? Okay, tell me when this one's the same.
The same.
The same? Those two are the same now?
Yeah.
Okay.
The way that's the same.
Good. Okay, now watch this. We're going to take the blue water from this glass. I'm going to pour it into this glass. Now, does this glass have more water? Does this glass have more water, or are they the same?
Has more water.
This one has more water? Can you tell me why?
Because that one's higher than that.
That one's higher than that